Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast, your one-stop shop for television, movie, video games, comic books, book reviews, and more. Now, without further ado, here's Steven and Mike.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone show. I am your host, Mr. Stephen Buster, along with the one, the only, Mr. Michael Shanks. Mike, say hey to everybody.
Good morning to all you geeks out there in Geekdom Land.
Well, hey, we've got two show regulars here that are joining us, not just in the background, but Angie, who is normally with us the show, but is going to be here in the show. Does that make sense? Something like that. Angie, thanks for joining us.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
And then we've also got the one, oh yeah, nice new swag. I love it. We also have everybody who was here with us last week and has come back again for more punishment. Is the one, the only, Theron Too Cool Lowry. Theron, how are you, sir?
Uh-oh.
Good morning. How's everybody going? I'm doing. No, I lost you guys. It's slowly but surely coming back and forth.
We may have a little bit of a delay on your end, kind of a thing. But hey, Theron, we're so glad that you are here with us today. Now, Michael, would you please give us a little hint of what we're talking about today before we get into the main event? But what is the main event that we're talking about today?
Well, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head pretty well in our little intro. We will be discussing Antman and his tiny, tiny universe.
Hey, Sage Page is with us. Sage, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Sage. Awesome.
Good to have you here with us. All right. Well, with that, everybody, we've got a lot on the docket. So we're just going to jump right in and get started with our geeky news.
All right. All right. So for the geeky news, I've got a few items this morning. So first one is from Screen Rant. And apparently Shazam is going to get his original name back. I'm kind of excited about this. It's kind of neat. For those of you who don't know, Shazam originally was not called Shazam by name. His name was Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Right.
So apparently DC is actually going to give him his Captain title back.
Ooh.
Now, the according to the report, they're not actually going to call him Captain Marvel, but they're going to start referring to him as the Captain again.
Ooh.
Which I think is kind of cool because I always liked him as Captain Marvel. I always thought it was cool. And technically, DC actually had the rights to the Captain Marvel name before Marvel. Captain Marvel actually came from a different comic book company that DC had bought out. But so what they're doing is they're kind of returning to the idea that Shazam has to be careful in saying the word Shazam. Otherwise, he'll change. Where they've been very loose on that, and it's just make it to where he says it, and then boom, he changes, and it's been kind of funky. But now it's almost like Beetlejuice. Nobody says the B word.
Right.
They're kind of going back to that aspect of it, which gives a little more depth to the character, in my opinion. Because he could be in battle as Captain Marvel, and then all of a sudden accidentally say Shazam and change back into Billy Baxton, and that could be a huge problem for him. Yeah. So I kind of like the idea of him going back to it. I think it's pretty interesting.
That'd be neat.
So all you Marvel fans out there, don't get confused if you see Captain Marvel back in the DC universe.
Nice.
Right on.
Like it.
No,
All
he's
right,
not Captain Marvel. You just said it. He's captain. He's the captain.
He's the captain. Sure, he is the captain.
I am a Marvel fan.
Do what
Captain
there?
Marvel that was in the DC.
Well, yeah, you're right. Captain
Marvel
Marvel even has. Yes, she has some variations on her name too,
Yep.
because it hasn't always been Captain Marvel. So,
I thought the variation on her name was skip this movie.
Yeah, well,
nice. I love it.
Never mind.
No, go ahead there.
Okay.
All right, I guess we're moving on. Anyway. So the second bit of news is from CBR.com. And apparently the Batman sequel could be finally getting a dangerous villain to the big screen, according to the headline. So there's been some rumors that we could see in the Batman, possibly Mr. Freeze, which I would love a good telling of Mr. Freeze. I think that would be a good movie series.
More accurate one?
Yeah. Way better than in that movie that we don't
talk about.
There's also been some rumor that we could get the Court of Owls. I think that could be interesting in this setting. But there's a possibility, and I think this could be really cool, that we could get Clayface. Now, that would be freaking amazing to get a live action version of Clayface and see him change into different things and stuff. And they could do it with the CGI today. It's totally feasible to do. So I say go for it. I think that'd be cool. Although I'm up for any of those three adversaries. If we go Mr. Freeze, I'm good for that. If we go Court of Owls, that'll be, a nice mind-bending mystery type situation for this Batman. So that could work really good. And Clayface could be very mysterious because he could change into anybody.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I say embrace it. Let's go for it.
Nice.
That would be super cool. All right, so last bit of news. This comes from ABC News. This has actually been out for a few weeks, but it's something I wanted to touch base on. AMC announces new price system based on seat location. In other words, AMC is considering a tier-based price system. So what would be considered better seats in the theater, they would sell at a higher price.
Yeah.
I think this is dumb. I think it's a bad move on AMC's part. And I think they're really picking the wrong time to do this. The theater industry is already in danger. They're at war with the streaming side of things. More and more people are getting better home entertainments. More and more people are going, I'm skipping the theater premiere, and I'm waiting for it to come streaming, and I'm going to watch it in the comfort of my own home. I don't have to deal with people. I can watch it in my home. So on and so forth.
Pay $20 for popcorn.
Don't have to pay $20 for popcorn. Yeah. Don't have to pay extra for a good seat. I can sit in my own recliner. I think this is a bad move on AMC's part. I think they're dumb.
Does AMC have? Don't they have like a movie plan?
Now I don't know because I don't have AMC near me.
Okay.
We have
Marcus used to.
I think, yeah.
Well, because when I worked at Disney back in 2010, they, granted this has been a while, but like they had just started rolling it out. But I think I don't know.
Well, I remember the story about Movie Pass, and Movie Pass was trying to get people, you're going to watch as many movies as you want and all that kind of stuff. Kind of began this subscription theater service.
And I think that died quick.
Well, it was a shyster kind of a move of the company and stuff they were doing. They were burning through cash and stuff. But AMC, if I remember right, introduced their own subscription plan in retaliation to some of the practices that MoviePass was trying to do. And so
now, didn't you have some kind of movie pass type thing?
I did. I canceled it for the time being, but I had it for a year. It is Regal Theaters.
Oh, yours is Regal. Okay.
And it was unlimited. And they just raised the prices. So it's like $19 a month. So when you have 3 people in your family, it's $60 a month kind of a thing. But you can watch as many movies as you want. You can go anytime you want, those kinds of things. You rack up points and you can use that towards, concessions and stuff, which is really good. But gosh, I can't imagine how would, if AMC has an unlimited kind of plan, if they do, how would you change that plan based upon the seats that you get?
Yeah.
But I will say this, Regal does charge extra. If it's a 3D movie, you got to pay extra.
Well, I get that.
Kind of a thing, but
we're talking for, it's like going to a concert. The closer you get to the stage, the higher the tickets are. So that's basically what AMC is introducing here. Yeah. I think it's a bad move.
It is a bad move.
I think honestly, it's going to hurt them financially. Honestly, I think what you should be doing is you should be looking at reducing prices in places to more give a better value to your customer, rather than going, oh, well, we're going to give a higher price on seating. I don't know. I think this is a bad idea on their part.
Well, plus, look at last night when we went to the movies. It was not a full theater. Nope. I was shocked.
For a premiere weekend. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't a full theater.
Is that Warenberg?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's not Warenberg anymore. It's Marcus now. Warenberg was bought out by Marcus, I don't know, about 10 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
So, okay. You tell.
Yeah, in fact, when the movie starts. What?
Has it really been that long?
I think it's been about 10 years.
So.
It's been a while now, Megan. But yeah, in fact, like you said, Stephen, they used to do the Warenberg.
Yeah.
Right.
So
it was
now
film reel before the movie started. Go get your concessions and welcome to Warenberg Theaters.
Yeah. Well, now they don't do that anymore. And Megan always looks at me and goes, Warenberg. And I go, Marcusburg.
Marcusburg. I love it. That's good. Because
they're no longer Warenbergs.
That's some funny stuff right there.
All righty then. So, yeah, that's all I got for the news.
Cool.
But, I really wanted to bring up that AMC thing because I think it's a bad move. I think it's going to hurt AMC in the long run. And I think they're going to learn the hard way. This was not a good idea. So
right.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Real quick, want to recognize Derpy Entertainment. Derpy says, I'm here for the biased Marvel review. Just a joke, everybody. How we doing today? Derpy, we're doing great. We're so glad you're here, man.
Not exactly sure what he means by the biased. I mean, I tend to lean more DC, but
we'll see.
I enjoy Marvel. I enjoy Marvel too.
I'm sure we'll get into it here in a minute.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Okay, all right. We're ready for the next segment.
Yeah, let's jump into the Geek Jar.
Well, you don't need that, Private. We're right here now. What is it? Now, what is it?
I'm having trouble with the radar, sir.
What's wrong with it?
I've lost the bleeps, I've lost the sweeps, and I've lost the creeps.
The what? The what? And the what?
You know, the bleeps, the sweeps, and the creeps.
That's not all he's lost.
I love that movie.
All right, Steven, you've been bugging me for weeks now to have a video, and I got a video. So
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love it.
And you notice I got the little Geek Jar in the corner.
It's fancy. Well done. Well done. I love it.
Oh, we're moving on up.
A lot.
Okay. I only have one thing for Geek Jar. Okay. So this past week was Valentine's Day. And last week I showed you I got a cool new action figure, which was from the McFarlane Toys Superpowers line. So McFarlane Toys is kind of bringing back the whole Superpowers line, but they've decided to add a few extra action figures in it. So my wife surprised me with one of the superpowers, and she got me the Batman Who Laughs.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a pretty nice action figure. Looks a lot like the comic book Batman Who Laughs, and it's got a nice rendition of the Batman Who Laughs on the backing card of it. So,
That's cool.
Really enjoying that. I thought that was pretty cool. That was one of the ones I wanted to get in the line. See, I'm trying to get the ones that didn't come out originally. I don't care about the remakes of the originals. I want the new ones.
Yeah, I meant to ask you that Superpowers logo looks like. Is that like supposed to be like a callback to Super Friends?
Yeah, I think so. Because
Super Friends, but they have to call it Superpowers.
Well, no, I mean this line originally came out around the time of Super Friends, and I believe there was actually a comic book series called Superpowers at the same time as Super Friends. So, and I think the idea was back then they were kind of promoting, it was supposed to be like the Super Friends line in action figure form, more or less.
Okay. Cool.
Is what I believe.
They look really neat. I mean, really neat figures.
I've seen some critiques on them. Some people are like, "Oh, they're not that great at looking action figures and stuff like that." I'm like, "Yeah, but you got to remember they're reproducing the Superpowers line." So, which weren't the best looking action figures to begin with, but they're adding these extra ones in, like Deathstroke, the Batman Who Laughs, and Nightwing. Nightwing's the next one I need to get. Yeah, they're adding those, and those were never in the original line. Now, there is one Superpowers from the original line. If they come out with this one, I will try and get to the stores immediately. I may even have to call off work if I find out this one, because you could not buy this one in stores. No one ever saw. I don't know anybody who ever even saw it in the stores. But in the original line, they did their Cyborg, and he was an incredible looking action figure. And I don't know if they'll come out with it because he had the vac metallized silver on him, which is something that's frowned upon today. However, Hasbro is re-releasing R2-D2 and C-3PO in the vac metallized form. Wow. So if they're going to do it, I can't see why McFarlane Toys couldn't do a cyborg version and do theirs. But man, if they come out with that, I got to go get it, because that one you can't even find an original of it. And
dang.
Yeah.
It's on eBay for $200.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's probably off the card too. It's probably not mint, is it?
No, it's on the card. It's on the card.
It is on the card.
Mint on card.
Oh wow. Okay. All right, I take it back. So, but it's still a highly sought after action figure.
Wow.
All right. Wow. Darren and Angie, did you guys have anything for Geekdar?
Go ahead, Darren.
No.
I just
alrighty then.
You got me off guard right now. I was just like, wait a minute.
The look on his face too was so funny.
It's all good. All good. Angie?
Didn't want to put you on the spot or anything. So for mine, it would probably be I've been watching lately The Last of Us on Paramount Plus.
On HBO or Paramount Plus?
Well, yeah, HBO. And
careful, my nephew's gonna go nuts as soon as he watch
it. So just to preface, I've never actually played the game because I don't really do like zombie, like I'm more like the vampire side, not zombies. And the only reason why I've heard of The Last of Us is because I play I watch Critical Role, and it's some of the people that play the game in Critical Role voice the game The Last of Us, and so that's the only reason why I've heard of it. And so when I heard
wait a second, Angie. Yeah. So Last of Us, I thought it was a video game. So it's both a video game and a role playing game.
No. I'm talking about like they played the they voiced the game. Yeah.
Okay.
So in like the first part of the game, Ashley Johnson, who plays the role-playing game, the D&D with Critical Role, she voiced it, the main character, Ellie. And then later on, one of the other actors comes in and does a voice role. Yeah. And so when they were talking about making a show, I was like, oh, yeah. And so I was like, well, I'll watch it. I've never played the game, but I, heard of it. And it's actually really good. Like there's parts where it's kind of creepy, but it's really good. So I don't want to give it away for anybody that wants to watch it, but it's definitely worth a watch. If you're not a zombie person like me, like you don't really get into the whole, Walking Dead type stuff, like it's definitely worth watching because like it's good. But yeah, I just watched, what was it? Episode 4 or 5? I think it might've been 5 that just came out.
I wonder if we should add that to our list. So once it's all done, or we all try to get a chance to watch it, we'll do a review. And Angie,
if we do, we have to have my nephew Dalton on because he's dying to be a part of that episode. So he has called me, he has texted me repeatedly.
All right,
Uncle
everybody
Michael,
hear that?
Are you gonna do? Yeah. So all right, if we're gonna do it, Dalton, if you're listening or watching, just hang in there.
And for those that do like have played the game and like it, apparently because I've been listening to the podcast after the episode, and Troy Baker, who plays the main character, totally blanking on his name. I'm sorry, guys, but Pedro's character.
The Mandalorian.
Yeah, which is so hilarious because he's so polar opposite than the Mandalorian in here.
I don't know. I've heard that he takes on like an orphan or something.
Well, okay.
So if you think of it from that aspect, it's the exact same thing as the Mandalorian and Grogu.
True. But his character is very, his character is very like sarcastic and hilarious, and like it's not, that part of him isn't like the Mandalorian.
Gotcha.
But so Troy Baker, he was talking to the creators of this, and they said that there's a lot of little clues if you've played the game. There's a lot of little like foreshadowing and everything like that in each episode. And on top of it, they created it in the style of Chernobyl. So if you like Chernobyl, you're going to love the show.
Now, I have not watched Chernobyl, but I heard that's a fantastic show.
It was so good.
I need
it. It was so good. There's so much like you'll watch something and you'll be like, that's interesting. And then like 5 episodes later, you're like, oh, I did not see that coming. Like that's where that plays. Like it was good. So yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I've been getting into.
Right up.
All right. With that said, I guess we will. Well, before we jump to the main event, I want to do something real quick. I just want to recognize a guest we've had on before, Mr. John Keller. John Keller came on and did our Cobra Kai review with us. Apparently, yesterday was John's son's birthday, and they celebrated it at a Bret Michaels concert. Bret Michaels was the front man for Poison, nice. So which happens to be one of my wife's favorite bands, who we used to go every summer.
But did he lip sync that show too? I'm just kidding.
Burn.
Bret Michaels didn't lip sync.
Ouch!
That's not a burn. He didn't. What are you talking about?
I know. I'm just poking the bear, as you would.
Yeah, you're right. Anyway,
I'm waiting for Brenda to do some kind of response.
I'm surprised she hasn't stormed in here and went after you. No, anyway, but he texted me a picture of him and his family at the show last night.
That's
so I just
awesome.
wanted to give a birthday shout out to his son. I don't want to say his name on the air because I don't know if he wants his name, put on the air. But anyway, so happy birthday to John's son. And we will move on to.
It's time for the main event.
I guess I'm going to have to Whoop.
Oh.
Sorry. That thing. Anyway. All right. We ready to jump into Ant-Man?
Yes.
Ant-Man Wasp, Quantumania.
Yeah. Let's do a couple of disclaimers here real quick. Everybody, I have not seen it, and spoilers don't bother me, but we are going to do a, how shall I say? Everybody will give their kind of their rating. I'll let you guys pick out what the rating is going to be. I'm looking forward to hearing. I'm very looking forward to hearing. And sorry, everybody in the chat. Brenda did show up. She goes, sorry, I guess I'm going to Steven skip that view, Steven. Well played, Brenda. Well played. Well played.
Well played there.
So I haven't seen it, but spoilers are okay. So I'm probably going to ask questions, clarifying questions of everybody, kind of a thing. But I am looking forward to hearing this. I've heard all kinds of buzz. I've heard all kinds of rumors. I've heard all kinds of different things. So I am looking forward to hearing from you guys on this.
Awesome. Well, let's see. Scale. I hadn't even thought of a scale yet.
Our non-spoiler review time.
What did you say there?
You can do Pym particles. You can do
what's the what?
You talking about the is time like it's time?
Time continuum? No, that's not it.
Little
No,
MacGuffin type ordeal.
Yeah, it was a MacGuffin, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's true. How about we just go for ants?
We can do. Yeah, you know what's funny? Quantum ants. There you go. I love that one, Quantum ants, because
Quantum ants, I like that.
We'll go quantum amps. Amps. All right, Angie, we'll start with you. What is your rating for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania?
Ooh, I don't know. I was really looking forward to this, so I'm probably gonna have to say 9 out of 10 Quantum Ants. Like, it was really good.
Okay.
It was really good. Like, it even surprised me on some parts where I was like, oh, I was not expecting that. So, yeah.
Very nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
So you give it 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Ants.
It was
Awesome.
pretty epic.
All right. Boy, Theron's got a funny look on his face. I am dying to hear Theron's score.
Yeah.
Go for it, Theron.
For me, I'm rating this one low. This one's
really?
This is going to be this is going to be probably like, I'm going to be fair because I'm going to give it certain aspects to it that I thought was that had high points, but I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm going
low. Mind blown here, Theron. Good.
Wow.
I mean, good that we're going to get a little bit of different perspective on this. Then, cool.
Yeah.
I myself, I'd been looking forward to this movie. I really enjoyed the previews that I'd seen of it. I think Ant-Man's been an interesting character. He wasn't somebody I was too interested in until the movies. So I think they've done a really good job at building him up. There was a nice family aspect to this film, and I really like that. I've said that before in other films where I really like a family dynamic to be added into it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's almost a Shazam feel to this because I really love the family dynamic in the first Shazam film too. So I like that aspect of it. I thought Michelle Pfeiffer did an incredible job, and I wanted her to put the cat suit on. Michelle Pfeiffer is Catwoman in Batman Returns.
Oh, man.
But she is my favorite Catwoman, by the way. Yeah, I thought she did a great job. Actually, I thought everybody did a really good job in this movie. There wasn't anybody that I disliked per se as far as character-wise goes. So I would score this 8 out of 10 Quantum Ants. I thought it was a fun movie, and I thought it was a good kickoff to Phase 5 of Marvel's Phase 5. So
cool. So 9, 8, and then 5. Okay.
Yep.
I'll probably even go lower.
Oh,
I should go. Okay, I'm gonna put it like the reason why
out there.
You know it's not okay for me personally. I've gone to pretty much all of the Marvel movies and watched.
You're a big Marvel.
Ant-Man 1, and I saw Ant-Man and the Wasp. All right, this is the first Marvel movie when I went to the theater and I paid for the IMAX 3D versions where I fell asleep. That's how bad it was for me. Like, it got to the point where it got super repetitive and it was drawn out to where all they were doing was talking. It was just explaining. Go somewhere. Exposition throughout the whole entire thing. And I'm just like, dude. And I woke up and I was just like,
wow. See, I didn't get that. I didn't get that at all.
Yeah.
I felt there was quite a bit of action in it. Wow.
I have heard, here's some of the stuff I had heard. I had heard that it was kind of formulaic, that it was, you could kind of see the whole Marvel thing. So it's kind of done, you're like, well, okay, here we are. I heard the actor, I guess you guys will get into this. The actor who played Kang was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I heard that it was messy. That I've heard people say that it was just kind of convoluted and
it was all over the place.
Yeah, I heard that it was all over the place as well. So,
see, I didn't get that. I didn't get that. Because okay, you find out that
talking points here I want to bring up.
Okay, all right. Well, you find out that the daughter, Scott's daughter. I'm trying to find her name. Cassie. You find out Cassie's been kind of delving into the quantum verse. And then Janet freaks out. And everybody's like, what is your problem? We don't know what's going on.
Scott freaks out first.
Well, Scott freaks out, but Janet really freaks out, especially when Cassie says that there's been messages coming back to her from the Quantumania and or quantum realm, and nobody understands why she's freaking out. But she's the one who spent 30 years or something like that in the quantum verse and everything. So, I mean, I thought it was pretty solid and on point. I understood what was going on. I understood where they were at. So I don't know. I don't get that it was convoluted. I don't really get that. But
okay.
Can I interrupt?
Let me jump in a little bit.
Well, hang on. Megan has something to say. Jump on screen.
Okay. Yeah, jump on screen, Megan.
Happy.
Yes.
Why is
turn your mic on?
My mic is on.
Off.
All right. Turn off.
You mean mute though?
Yeah. Thank you. There you go.
Why are all the funny superheroes harped on so much? That's all it is.
Okay.
Every single one. Shazam got crap reviews.
Yeah, that's true.
That was a funny superhero movie.
That's Thor, because they become too campy in their nature.
But campy is fun.
Okay, did you like the fact that? Okay, spoiler here. Did you like the fact that MODOK was in this one?
He was in the trailer.
He was
in the trailer.
It was
not
the
really
jump of MODOK. No,
okay,
I didn't like the fact that they brought the character who played
you didn't like that
to play MODOK.
Yeah, you didn't like that it was
the character in the
Okay.
No, it wasn't even just comic character. It's just his abilities was just like they were super underused. He was more like a lackey, and I get the fact that he was a lackey to Kang and everything in that nature. But at the last little bit, he was like, "Oh, I'm an Avenger now." Oh, get the heck out of here with that, man! And it was just like you can even tell half the time when his face was moving because it's just bad CGI. I was just like, "What the? This is just like putting your face, super."
Oh no. Derpy, wow.
So Derpy says, "Can't be my butt."
This is I he's coming for me.
Wow.
I really enjoyed Shazam. I don't think we poo-pooed on Shazam.
We didn't.
No,
we
no,
didn't.
no. The
Not
reviewers.
us, but the overall reviews.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I have to go back and look because I don't
Shazam
remember Shazam being that way.
I really don't remember
getting
Shazam
reviewed that
getting
way.
overall bad reviews. I
The
thought
first
At the
one or
very
the second
beginning,
one?
they did.
but
First
But
one.
the first
I don't know.
one that it did, it was way too big. It was big in the first movie when he first got his powers. That whole sequence of him learning all of his moves, it was just like a step, like Tom Hanks big, and it was. Just
that's exactly
the
the Shazam character, though.
Yeah.
That's exactly who he is. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't have a problem with that.
But
I didn't have a problem with that. Anyway, we're not talking Shazam.
I'm sorry.
Right.
All right, go ahead.
We'll talk Shazam in a few weeks.
I'm just tired of the funny ones getting
Reel that
crap
penguin back in.
people
Well,
are.
I mean, okay, Megan. Let me throw that. Let me bring it back to you. It was that the.
Oh dang,
Quantumania
Megan
was
and Darren are
funny.
throwing
Scott
down
Lang
in the
was
boxing ring.
But they didn't
I
really,
didn't know he was
lean on Scott Lang's funny bits in the movie. Really, it was all the other characters that was introduced, like the little blobs and Bill Murray's character. All of them, they were funny. Scott was the more serious. Hey, I'm my dad. I'm a dad. I gotta go, find my daughter. I gotta go get my daughter. He was like the Vin Diesel in a situation. I gotta protect the family. I gotta go find them. He was.
Well, see, that's what I liked about it.
True.
Yeah.
I love that.
I
it
like
was a
the
difference in
family
his
aspect
character.
of it.
Yeah.
I
know
love
that
Scott.
part, but it wasn't as funny. All right, put it like this: it wasn't as the movie didn't have the funny parts that kept me amused, like how it was in Love and Thunder. And I get those are two different directors that made that movie, But at the same time, I was just like, I was really hoping. Go ahead.
So you were wanting Ant-Man to be more of a funny movie. This Ant-Man, you're wanting it to be more of a funny movie. Is that what you're saying?
No, I want him to have that same type of energy he when he showed up in his movie, the same type of energy he had when he was, in the original Antman and Wasp, when he was in Civil War. Keep that same type of energy. And I get the fact that, they suffer through, they're living their life after the blip. And, the way they started the movie talking about, they thought he was Spider-Man. They thought he was somebody else. But you didn't really get that from him. It was just like he was all in his head thinking of people were just so nice. And I'm just going to walk around the city and I'm just going to get, I'm just going to be me. And I thought that was like, what the? Okay, so I get that.
Well, that was the Scott Lang. That was the Scott Lang of the other movies too. Yeah. I mean, that's just him, And I love the whole. Thank you, Spider-Man. I thought that was great.
Yeah. And he was like, "Oh no, wrong bug guy. Yeah, you got to pay $20 for your $12 for your stuff." He was like, "Wow, that's crazy."
That's funny.
Well, apparently he likes spiders better than ants.
Okay, so just to clarify, I'm going to make sure I'm following here. Theron, you wanted to be more. You're saying the movie should have been more lighthearted in parts. I'm not saying you're saying the movie had to be lighthearted in general, but just it did not have that Marvel lightheartedness that the other Ant-Man movies had. Yeah, like consistent within the Ant-Man style. This one, if you're saying it was a little bit more, a little more serious in tone.
It's serious in tone, but then again, at the same time, this was one of the Marvel movies I know for a fact. I mean, even though that you say that it's more family, not take my kid to go see this movie, is the fact of the matter they harped in on some harsh tones in the movies that I'm like, that's not kid appropriate. Why are they saying that? That's not, that's more of the Marvel Ant-Man style that I'm accustomed to, where it's funny. He gets into, he has that connection, that bond with his daughter, but at the same time, I get she's older and everything, and in nature, they're not going to have that same type of, energy to a certain extent. But when they're going around and they're saying certain, dialogues, I'm like, I can't bring my kids to see this movie. I don't even know if I'm going to let them watch it on Disney Plus unless they edit the crap out of it.
I wasn't saying, when I said family aspect, I wasn't saying it's a family movie. I'm saying that the story focused on their family. That's what I was referring to. I didn't mean for it to sound like, if I said that, I didn't mean for it to sound that way. I just wanted to recognize Sage Page Omega says this movie was Spy Kids for adults. That's about it.
Oh, ouch.
I mean, in a way, I agree with that. It does have a Spy Kids, aspect to it.
Yeah.
I get the comment, but I still enjoyed it. Derpy.
You say that like Spy Kids is not an enjoyable movie.
No, I enjoyed Spy Kids. I thought it was a good movie.
If we're talking about Spy Kids 1, then
right, yeah. It got convoluted, and Derpy. Here's the true question: are we going to acknowledge that this film, as Star Wars fan, Antman 3 is basically the sequel as a whole on drugs in one film?
Ouch!
So harsh.
Gosh, what an interesting dynamic I'm getting here from everybody. Like someone like this was great.
I'm telling you, man.
Others like this is not.
It was just like,
hey, Theron, were you on Twitter this morning?
It wasn't good. No, I wasn't. Actually, I woke up and I got right on to the podcast.
Okay, well, the only reason I asked that. No. I was in the movies, and once I got out of the movie and everything, and then I kind of thought about it, and then I wanted to find a little bit more interesting twist on like Kang's character, and I was just like, his character seemed way too. I ain't really. I mean, I like the dynamics of his character, but I'm just like, it's not enough. You didn't get enough details. Okay, I kind of look at it like taking my wife to the movies, and she knows nothing about everything, but then again, she's walking into it blind, so she was just like, "Where's he from?" And I was like, "Bro, he was kind of introducing Loki, but you have to watch that first before you can kind of understand, and then also at the same time, you got to kind of know a little bit his backstory. If I got to explain way too much into his backstory." And then you see like the buildup of where he started in the beginning of the movie, where he crash landed, and then and try to figure out like where he was at towards the end of the movie, where he built his empire and lost that, and now you got a whole council of kings, and it's just like it's way too much. It was way overloaded, and then most folks are gonna be like, I guess he's a big bad guy. Where was he at when Thor was around? I mean, I'm not Thor, but where was he at when Thanos was around? Or what was he at? But we're moving on to different bad guys now. I mean. You can't.
I know. I get that part.
We can't go back all the time and go, well, where was he during the Thanos stuff? Because if you do that, we're never going to go forward. We got to go forward.
Right,
Thanos is done. His story's told. We're moving on to a new character. Now, as far as Kang goes, I like Kang in this one. Actually, I like Kang better in this than I did in Loki. I thought this was a better version of Kang. But there are multiple versions of Kang, and we're going to get into it. And that's that's what the
there's multiple versions of Kang, like multiverse stuff.
Yes,
it really. Steven, I know how you feel about multiverse. Loki? It's really going to home in on that part too.
Be
it's
prepared,
really going to hit hard into the multiverse.
Steven, I knew this. Steven, I think we covered Loki, didn't we?
We did.
Maybe you should go back and watch more episodes.
No, I just figured I didn't really. So we're not going to have one Kang. We're going to have multiple Kangs.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It's going to be a council of Kangs. Oh,
there are thousands of Kangs.
Yeah.
We're not just talking now. Granted, we're probably only gonna focus on like 3 of them, but there are like thousands of Kangs.
In saying that, I want to address Sage Page's comment.
Okay.
He says, if I may be honest, this movie was a filler episode for Loki 2
season 2.
Yes, so, it really was. Because if you didn't watch Loki 1, then you're gonna kind of go in a little bit blind on this, and then that's what's gonna really, and that's why you need to stay for the end credit and stuff like that. But I want to stay on track here. I'm talking about like the fact that what happened when we first started the movie of Ant-Man's character. And then when you get down to the when you get down to the
go ahead, finish.
When you get down to when you get into the quantum realm, when they get to the quantum realm, how they got sucked into the quantum realms. I'm gonna correct you a little bit. She wasn't sending signals out to the quantum. Well, wait a minute. She was sending signals, but she wouldn't get anything back. She just opened up the portal, and then they noticed that it was a signal being received, and that's when Michelle Pfeiffer's character kind of shut it off abruptly. And then that's when it opened back up. And then all of a sudden, it was just like everybody got sucked into it. But she tested that quantum little gadget portal ordeal like several times. Her and Hank Pym was like playing with it. How come nothing happened before that? I get it. It's the movies. I get it.
Because that's one question you just don't.
Right then and there.
Right. I mean, if you really want to dig deep into this, how come Kang couldn't escape too? I mean, with all the power he's got, he could escape. But I mean, if we're going to dig really deep into it,
she blew up this little
right. I understand that. I get that. So there, my wife said, and she doesn't know anything other than what we got introduced to Kang in the Loki series. That's all she knows about Kang whatsoever. And she actually didn't ask. So,
that's all I know about too.
Right. So I disagree with that. I think if you're just paying attention to the film, you'll be fine. I also wanted to address Derpy again real quick. Derpy said he's not trying to be that guy, but it totally was the vibe throughout the film. I have no problem, Derpy. Everyone has a right to their opinion. If you liked it, you liked it. If you didn't, you didn't. I enjoyed the film. I thought it was a fun film. I did not feel it was filler. I felt that it set up Phase 5, but I do find it interesting that people are really crapping on this movie. I watched a couple of videos this morning just to prepare me for today's broadcast. And they were saying Twitter was blowing up this morning. This is the worst Marvel movie yet, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, really? And then I saw somebody said it's getting terrible reviews on Rotten Tomatoes.
No, who cares about Rotten
Well,
Tomatoes?
yeah, but hold on. So I wanted to see that. Megan, I agree, but hold on. I wanted to see this. So I looked at it. Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes on the critics side is giving it a 48%. I don't give two craps of what the critics say. I don't care. Okay. Now on the audience side, it's getting 84%.
Oh, there you go.
So it's not as bad with the audience as you. Obviously, you have a lot of people who are being really loud about it who don't like it, which seems to be the case in almost every film that goes out. The loudest voices are heard. So I'm shouting
like 25 minutes of this episode, by the way.
But I'll have to say that.
I'm shouting from the mountaintops. I enjoyed the film, but then again, I also enjoyed Venom, and I got crapped on for that. Now,
which was another campy type thing that got crapped on.
Well, I will say this:
because it made Venom funnier. Yeah.
The only one that didn't really get crap that's a campy character is Deadpool.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, that's
Deadpool.
But
that's because
that's
he's
expected
known for
his
it.
character. I get that part.
But I will say, like, to me, watching this, it reminds me of like when we first started Phase 1. And actually on our way out of the theaters, I had seen my uncle and my cousin. And so we started talking. And I said, to me, it seemed like at the beginning when they started the whole, with Iron Man and all this kind of stuff, it's brand new. Some of the characters are brand new to people. Some of them that don't read the comics and stuff like that.
Right.
And
I didn't know Cassie at all. I mean, other from the films. I mean, but I actually like Cassie. I thought she was fun.
She did really good. I thought it was going to be like, okay, so to be honest, I thought that it was going to be something like, this is a whole family aspect. Great, cool, whatever. But like, I felt like it was going to be very like cheesy and there wasn't any substance to her. It was going to be just like, oh, she's his daughter. We're going to play it off like, oh, she's got, these special whatever because of her dad, and all this kind of stuff. But she actually had a little bit of depth, in my opinion, to her character. So I kind of liked that. But that's how I felt, was like how people were kind of like, it could have gone either way with, some people liked it, some people hated it. At the very beginning of the whole start of Phase 1, I feel like that's kind of like what it is right now. That's just my opinion.
Well, I could have done without the whole social warrior justice crap that they were portraying Cassie with. I don't need that crap, and I can deal without the socialist aspect of Hank.
When he was talking about the ants building their own civilization, he was like, I just want to let you know, socialism is like a really bad word, but let me tell you, these ants, and they wait a minute, Hank, shut up. We ain't got time for that.
You're employed by the biggest capitalist company in the world, and you're touting social. Shut up.
Yeah.
So, anyway, those are the things that I didn't give it up to 10 for because I didn't like those at all. We could have cut those out of the film, and I would have been thrilled. You know. But other than that, I thought it was pretty decent.
I know. I'm not going to give it a 10, but I'm sticking to my 9.
I got a kick out of Derpy here. Derpy said because biased people like it.
Oh.
No, wait a minute. Hey, Theron, would you call me biased towards Marvel?
No.
Exactly. I am not biased towards Marvel.
On the other hand,
we have way too many conflicts outside of this realm in the podcast where we go back and forth, and we have done this for years. By the way, no.
This has been super weird, Theron. As of this episode, for the last 2 episodes. The last time we had you on, we did Cyborg versus Iron Man, and I kind of took Iron Man's side of the aspect, so I was taking the Marvel side of it. Okay, but I'm a bigger DC fan. And then this time, I'm defending Antman, the Marvel movie, and you're going against it. So really funny. I don't think I'm biased towards Marvel.
I think I'm kept this one. I really did. I really do think they could have kept this movie. They didn't need to go in this direction with Ant-Man. I think Ant-Man was fine when he just left it off with Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't think they should have made Quantumania, to be honest with you. I get why they did it because they wanted to introduce Kang and he was going to feed into the Loki series. But other than that, they could have introduced Kang in a different way. Because, even Kang himself said that I existed throughout time and space and it's relevant to me. So therefore, I've already encountered, all of you heroes, and I've killed you so many times, I lose count. But at the same time, his special ability is really it's technological. So he goes back in time and he tried to rewrite so much of history himself, where he existed throughout time all together. And then it's, I think, what is his name? Like the one that in the very end they maybe.
Keep talking.
Maybe this is the multiverse Mike and Theron.
You would think that he would. You would think that he would
that's coming
be
back.
Able to. That's funny. Yeah.
All right, Theron.
Yeah, so you'd think that it's considering that his character has done this so many times that he will have all these iterations played out. But I'm gonna conclude what I'm trying to say here. King is a very convoluted character, and when you talk about him for this movie, he was way overpowered. He's a conqueror. He was way more in your face type ordeal when it comes down as villainy wise, than we ever seen. And Thanos, he was big bad, scary. He was going up against superheroes. But when Kang was the person, I know I'm going to beat you all because I have all these powers. And he got there in your face, was blasting people all over the place. Didn't care what, regardless. But it wasn't really people. Wow. They were just quantumites or whatever they call it. They wasn't necessarily human. They were some form of entity in the quantum world. So you didn't really care. What's up?
Hey, now everyone's a person, no matter how small.
Okay, yeah, that's funny stuff. Anyways, so
he's moving on.
So wait a minute, but what Theron's saying though is, did you have any connection to them? Was it just kind of, he's just blasting kind of a thing? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's the people.
Well, I mean,
did you get a sense of when he was in the quantum wars? I mean, the quantum realm and stuff like that. Why he destroyed so many civilizations? Because he's trying to build his empire to get out. But for the most part, did you feel any connection with the little blob that was giving them the syrup so they can understand the people down there, or the guy who had the telepathy and all that stuff like that? When they died, did you care? I didn't care any of that when they passed away. The glass head face guy who blasted the beam.
So the feeling of stakes just wasn't there.
Yeah.
This is high stakes, battle or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, okay.
What you're saying.
I get what you're saying, but I mean, as far as the blob guy goes, I had some feeling toward it because he was funny. I enjoyed the character
because he wanted to know what hose was like. You got hose in your body. I want hose in my body.
That was
How many holes
hilarious.
do you have in your body? Is that funny?
And then-
I don't know.
And
then he, like-
about the holes in people's
He
bodies.
didn't die
Probably
though.
got holes in his body.
He didn't die, and
He
neither
didn't
did
die.
Holes in his body.
he got
No, he
holes in
didn't.
his body,
I'm
and then
saying,
he
like,
used
if
it
he
as
was
a weapon.
Then he
It's
started
like, would you
sucking
care?
everybody.
Right. Then he
That's
used it
funny.
as a weapon.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I had kind of. I mean, not to the connection that I had to Scott's family, of course.
Right.
You know, I have
Bill
a
Murray's
higher
character.
connection
Did you
to
care about his character at all when Murray was on that? I love the fact that Bill Murray was in
Well,
there.
no, I
But
didn't
did you
care about
that
Bill
he
Murray's.
actually,
Yeah.
you know, he got ate by the one creature that
Come on,
was the chaser.
Let's
Did
face
you-
it. Let's face
Come
it.
on.
Bill Murray's only in there because he's Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly
They
you
could
know,
have had
yeah.
anybody. They could have had
But-
anybody play that part.
Yes.
Well, no, I don't know if you could have anybody because they wanted some star power there. That was the whole
Yeah,
reason.
but I'm
for
just
it.
saying.
Oh,
like,
Bill Murray's in the movie. Let's go and watch it. But does he do anything? No, absolutely not.
What did you say, Megan?
Saren, are you a Star Wars fan?
Yeah.
Did you care about Rogue One?
Oh!
Yes, I did care about Rogue One.
Damn!
Don't go there with me. All right, Megan. Okay, Megan. All right.
Oh,
No.
Why do you care
Oh,
about
my
those
goodness.
characters?
No.
Dang,
You knew that
Megan,
they were going to die.
Megan with a total mic drop on that one.
No. Oh, no, mic drop. Hold on. First of all, don't even.
Uh-huh.
You can't-
You
know that we're gonna die.
We're sticking with Marvel and the Quantum because you guys know how I like
you're
to
talking
deviate.
about
I
you're
got to
saying
go
that
on
they're
tangents.
insignificant and that there's
Okay,
no reason
I'm
to
just gonna
care
sit
for
back
them.
now.
But you knew that they had to die.
Yeah,
So
I knew
why
that
should you
everybody
care
that was
about
in
the
Rogue One
characters
was
in Rogue
gonna.
One?
They had a sense of purpose. Yeah, they had a sense of purpose. They was gonna. They had to. There was only that part. They only did what they needed to do to move the story forward. So therefore, you can get to, so they can deliver the device onto the ship, so they can get the word out. I get that part.
Oh, well,
yeah, I
wait a
understand
minute.
that. I get that.
Before I
part.
show that, before I
Oh,
show that,
okay.
I gotta show
Well-
this too.
Yeah, there it goes.
Nope, not that one. Where is it? There we go.
Oh. Oh. Oh, Brenda.
Anyway,
That was
and
funny.
then I did want to go to this.
Yeah, even though I knew they was going to die, you know, it was going to be a total disaster at the very end, but I knew that they had a sense of purpose of retrieving all that data, getting the word out. The whole minutia of that whole movie. I get that part, but at the same time, when it came down to the Quantumania and everything in that nature, it's just like, okay, the queen or the leader that was there, did you have a sense of like purpose that where she, you know, she had,
Yeah.
did she gain anything?
Actually,
Did she-
I liked her. I wouldn't mind
He's a
seeing
very
more
main
of her.
character to Kang. Yeah, that's what I'm
But
saying. They didn't even harp on her character at all. As
Yeah, but
much
I'm
as they
s-
should, I should say.
Yeah, but the movie wasn't about her.
Right.
She was
No, I
only
know.
there to carry you through the quantum the quantum verse or whatever. That's really
just
her
about
only purpose in
sprinkling.
film. Right.
About
It's just a
sprinkling.
sprinkling. I mean, but you could bring that character back, and I would watch something with her. I thought she was
Yeah.
interesting. I don't know if she could hold her own as a main character. But
She would
I
need
thought she was,
somebody. You know.
yeah, right. But I thought she was an interesting leader. I thought she was tough. I enjoyed her. I thought she was good. So yeah, I
Yeah.
cared
Her
cared
character
about
is actually more in direct relations with Kang than it actually in the comics was versus what they actually portrayed in the movies. And I don't want to go. And then this is where my brain goes into like, okay, I remember what like when now it's starting to come back to me like about Kang, how he was in the comic versus what he was in the movies and everything. And some of the characters they really didn't harp on. It was Michelle's Pfeiffer character they replaced for the Queen in that role, because she had more of a direct connection with Kang, and he was just like, I need you because you're the only one that can like help me escape this prison of quantum prison. But really it wasn't that complicated. He could have literally got out on multiple occasions. It was just like wasting time. I think a lot of it was really just wasting time. He was way overpowered.
I question the idea that whether he could have got it out. I'm kind of thinking he purposely stayed in there to build up his army, because I think that was
That's
the whole
what I
point.
got.
Yeah,
Because he said he was a liar.
because he built an
No.
army in there, and he
Oh,
said
yeah, I
he's
get
taking that army
Yeah,
to
empire.
battle, right?
Yeah,
his
he's taking that
empire. So I think that was the whole point of him being in there. And I think he probably could have gotten out, but I think he actually chose to stay in there to build that empire. That's what I think is going on here.
The way I read it was just an excuse saying that he couldn't get out so he could build his army. Like he said he was a liar, and he was like, I've lied many times. So I'm like, I think he's lying on, I can't get out, blah, 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 blah. He wanted to use them.
Which is funny because he calls Michelle Pfeiffer's character out for lying because, she said she was going to help save him. Yeah. And then she's like, he goes, she has a tendency to change her mind. It's like, well, dude, you do the same thing. So
the pot
shut up.
The kettle black.
Right, exactly.
For sure.
Exactly.
I did like the fact that the ants, they introduced the ants in it. And then really the person who was the true savior was Hank Pym. It wasn't technically Ant-Man. He was the original Ant-Man was a savior in the situation because he had the listening device that basically reached out and contacted the advanced ant tech civilization that basically became more heightened because they fell into the quantum verse, and that's what came in and saved the day, not the original Scott Lang that saved the day.
Well, no, see, I felt it was more of a whole family aspect because I mean, you needed each one of those parts to be able to succeed. You did still need Scott Lang becoming who did I say, Megan? Becoming Ultraman, because I swear he looked like Ultraman when he's giant.
Oh, Ultraman.
His costume does look like.
Yeah. As soon as he got big, I was like, hey, it's Ultraman. But you needed Scott Lang becoming Ultraman, and then you needed his daughter basically doing the same thing, and them, destroying, it
was a cohesive
thing. And then even in the end, when they escape and Scott Lang is held back and battles with Kang, which I thought was a great battle.
He got his. He got his butt kicked.
He did get his butt
literally
kicked.
Kang.
It was to the point where I thought they was gonna hone in, and then he was gonna be the sacrificial lamb in that situation. But Marvel tends to do its Marvel thing, and then stopped it. That's it.
But now
they do it all the time.
I don't have a problem with Scott getting his butt kicked there because. If you think about this, I love the aspect. I think it was Emergency Awesome who made the comment in his video that you're literally taking the smallest Marvel character and literally putting the smallest Marvel character up against one of the most powerful Marvel characters, which I thought was an interesting aspect and a good way to look at this. So yeah, when you look at it that way, sure, he's going to get his butt kicked, and then Wasp comes back, and I mean, a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, he had to have the female save him." Well, no, because it was kind of a group effort still. Yeah. She came back and helped him, but it was a group effort for them to take down Kang, basically.
And they told them throughout the whole movie that it's not just going to be like a simple fight.
Yeah. Right. They're both going to design to lose. I get that part. They're both, he doesn't have to win. They both just have to lose in a sense. So therefore they can put him in more of a, he used the Pimtech to shrink the little time dilation ball down to where it trapped him inside of it. And also at the same time, so he sent him Kang more into a deeper version of the quantum realm. It's really weird. And I thought that was, and it was like, okay, he's stuck there now. All right. So that iteration of Kang is gone, but there's multiple iterations of Kang. So therefore he can come back. So if they do encounter him again, which that's what Scott was contemplating at the end of the movie, did they beat him? Is he alive? Is it over?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's over.
We knew that this wasn't the end.
I get that part.
Kang.
Right.
We knew that. All of us knew that going into this. We knew Kang couldn't be defeated in this movie. That's right. That was the whole point. The whole point is to set up the next phase of Marvel where he's the big bad, whereas the last phase it was Thanos. I get it. Shout out to Contagious Punk. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. And look, she's got to go see this movie now. So we persuaded somebody to go see it.
But I will say this. I felt like it was very family dynamics that it took everybody to help bring him down. And, as the saying always goes, you didn't see a dead body. So he's still around. But yeah,
it took the Ant Army. It took the Ant Army to bring him down. Everybody that was the Quantum Mites or whatever that they are, they was not no match for him. Scott, Stature, I feel
like they gave the final blow.
Wasp, all of them, they was not. And it was funny because it was just like, okay, so his technology is so advanced. When Scott went big, that's one of those things. It's like he didn't take any damage. He was unfazed. And I get it because he had the suit on, but he was bigger. But I'm like, wait a minute, he seems, it doesn't seem like it's doing anything. And I get that part. And to an extent, but I'm like, he got to suffer some type of damage because he has all of this arsenal blasting at him, and he's just walking right through it. And I'm like, get out of here with this, man! Like, you don't really feel any type of, like, you don't see any sense of battle damage towards him. Only when he goes down to like regular Scott Lang and he was going up against Kang. But I was thinking to myself, like, how come Kang didn't just go up against him right then and there? He just stood there and let him destroy his little exit device. I thought that was pretty stupid.
I think that's just setting him up as the big bad, though. I mean, you got to establish how powerful he is. He's going to have to go against all the Avengers by the end of this. We're going to have a 2-part Avengers movie against Kang.
Right.
So, I mean, if he's starting to be taken down by Ant-Man, what kind of adversary
didn't immediately take damage?
Sure, that is true. Huh? The ants didn't immediately take damage.
Right.
He did start wiping some of them out. Oh, yeah. Did you have feelings for the ants that were being wiped out there?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's funny.
Okay. So it's not just it's the whole Shanks family that's coming after me now.
Man, Darren, I thought it was just going to be you and me duking it out.
I'm King in this situation, and all of y'all are the Langs. It's feel like that right about now.
I ain't saying nothing.
Darren, this is like Fast and Furious. It's all about family, man.
That's so funny.
All I want to do is just get out the word, man. I just want to break free of this quantum prison.
I do see from though, like there are some things where I'm looking back now and I'm like, okay, yeah, they could have done that a little bit differently. But for me, I loved the family dynamic. I loved the aesthetics and like the graphics and everything. I thought that was so awesome. Like it was a pretty.
So I saw some people that were crapping on the CG in this film. I thought it was pretty good. I actually enjoyed the CG. I
loved the colors and everything. Like it was really neat.
I mean, you got to take
it was actually pretty cool.
Was it? I don't do
that's
the 3D
your problem.
What?
My problem? Oh, let's go. Let's go. Right now. Let's go. Round 2. Let's go. Let's do it.
Anything in 3D. 3D is an outdated thing. It was introduced to try to be cool, and it never worked out well. And they stopped making movies specifically for 3D.
In IMAX 3D.
3D is neat. I like 3D. I think 3D is cool. I don't think it's outdated.
Good for certain movies.
Yeah,
I don't pay.
Yeah, for like this movie, Avatar was good.
Avatar was really good. The 3D Avatar, the way it was done, was really good.
Yeah, the one at Disney World is amazing.
About the latest one.
Yeah, I agree with Sage here though.
Right, I agree.
Let me see. Hang on.
Avatar sucks unless it's the ride at Disney World.
So I do have to say I agree with Sage Page. Yeah. He said
I'll admit
CGI issue.
It
wasn't great. It wasn't.
It did look weird, but I mean, how do you do the giant face?
But I feel like that's the character. Like he's meant to look weird, and it's not.
Yeah. I mean, it's MODOK.
Well, he's in like a glass. What was it? Glass tubing. If I'm not mistaken, isn't that how MODOK's face is in the comics? He has like it's more like a glass jar, kind of how it.
It reminds me of Sonic
from Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles.
The Face of Bo. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Only Doctor Who fans get that one.
Which
it was less like Face of Bo and more like the character from Ninja Turtles, where it was in the glass casing, and then he had
it's like his head was in a glass casing, and then he was like, and he had the like robotic arms and head. They just made it like a face, like it's just like a stretched face. And it was on there. Yeah.
That's what he looks like. I don't know.
There it is.
Yeah.
I mean, other than he was bald and this character has hair, I don't know. It looks kind of like him.
Yeah.
I don't think it looks.
I feel like in the movie the face was a little bit stretched out, so it looked weird.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. You
know what I mean? And in
you didn't feel
in
any
the comics,
type of invention
it's
or
not
anything,
as like.
So I thought that was a little weird.
You know,
but I mean,
they could have brought the casing further up.
Yeah,
it's an odd character to make a live action version of, though.
Yeah, you know? For what they did for the character,
not really. I mean,
I thought it was
MODOK is actually really. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they made him look more villainy than Kang. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. But I think like the reason why they did that is because we already knew like he was a bad guy, you know, and then here like okay, you know, whatever. But then like I think from what I noticed, Kang, you were supposed to be like, I don't know how I feel about this guy. Like, he seems like a bad guy. And, like, there was so many, like, layers to him, I felt like, in this movie. Like, you're like, okay, this is clearly a bad guy. But, like, I don't know. It felt like there was, like, you were trying to peel back the onion.
You hit the nail right on the head. Do you really feel bad for Kang in this situation? I get where he's at. I mean, I get where he's coming from. I do.
I don't feel bad for Kang.
No sense of attachment.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't have a sense of attachment either, but he's the bad guy. You're not supposed to, really.
Is he?
I disagree. I disagree.
We know, they've been painted as the past bad guy, but I don't think he is.
I think with villains, it's always good to have some kind of connection with the villain, why they're bad. It's just good. It's better storytelling. So
it depends on the villain. It depends on the villain. I mean, some villains are meant to have, you know, this backstory that's, you know, and then others are just bad because they're bad. And that's what I get from Kang. He's just bad because he's just bad.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Okay, what makes him bad though? No. What makes him bad though? He just said that he went back in time because he lived through multiple timelines, and he kind of seen all the variations of outcomes. So he has gone up against the Avengers. He won. He's killed them. He's lost. He's surpassed a lot of things that happened throughout time itself. So it just depends on the iteration of King that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. But is all the Kings bad? Nah, not really. To be honest with you, can't really say that he's a villain on that. They got to paint him out to be a villain. To be
so far
backstory or more credence towards his villainy.
So far, we haven't met a good Kang. Let's just put it that way.
He said in Loki that there are no good versions of himself.
That's what I thought.
Or if there was, he destroyed them.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah, exactly. But
like,
that's what
the
happens.
ones that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's doing the same thing Thanos did, just on a bigger scale. Yeah. He's wiping out multiple timelines.
That's true.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's see what Sage has to say here. Well, he is a bad guy by good guy standards, but like Thanos, what he was trying to do was for greater good on his viewpoint. This Kang was trying to prevent the chaos of other Kangs. Well, wait a minute. This Kang that we were watching in Antman was, or the Kang? Yes. I got that more from Kang
at the very end
in Loki, because I think this Kang is only out to destroy. Mm-hmm. I don't think he. Yeah.
But did you watch Emergency Awesome when you got home? Because so I watched. I only watched the Loki part because I wanted to see it again. But he made a point in there. About how so one of them was talking about like the oldest king, but then another one was because the what was his title in Loki? I can't remember.
Oh, the
original or something like that.
No, the one who remains.
The one who remains.
Yeah. So since he's technically dead,
that's right.
It goes to the Conqueror, like the way he phrased it, you'd have to hear it, but like basically something about like how like he is the worst or something like that, you know, and like you know, the oldest and, you know, the most horrible or whatever you want to call it, that was the one that we saw in Loki, and then when he died, it transferred to like the Conqueror, you know, where like he's the most horrible one and he's trying to kill everybody. Like, I don't know.
Okay, Sage says
it's a variation of him too. Okay, good.
Okay, Sage says he said he got out. He said if he got out, he could stop the greater threat from coming. Scott even mentions at the end. The problem is he also said he's a liar.
That's what I was going to say.
So for him to say he could stop the greater threat, but he also said that he was the greater threat.
Right.
If you remember. So, I mean, that all depends on what you believe. I think he is the greater threat.
I believe
Well, I mean, okay, maybe he himself is not the greater threat, but Kang.
It goes back to that onion thing. There's a lot of layers.
Yeah,
there.
There's a lot of layers. I agree.
Yeah, man.
Which goes back to
you have to know a little bit more in depth about Kang's character. I think that just going in as a viewer, they're looking forward to seeing like Antman and the Wasp, and they're taking on like a bad guy and all this stuff like that. But when you start to when you pay attention to when you wake up and you're paying attention to certain elements of the movie and stuff like that, you're like, okay, I'm definitely missing something here. I need to go back and I need to watch, unless you get the post-credit scenes, you watch this is tied into Loki. All right, I got to go back and watch Loki. Then I can understand probably some stuff that happened in this movie, and then I'm prepared to watch Loki 2 type of deal. It didn't really feel like it was.
I mean,
it was
that's all
standalone. Just yet.
Well, no, because Marvel, everything is connected. That's something they've been doing for the last decade now. Is they're making everything connected to where you have to watch every piece. It's like a giant puzzle that you got to put together. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's just the aspect of how much Marvel do you want? Do you really want to delve into this universe and get the entire story? Mm-hmm. Are you just there for an Ant-Man story? I get it. If that's what you're there for, this is probably not the movie for you.
Right.
But if you're in for the bigger picture,
it's going to be multiverse on steroids for Steven.
Yeah,
to be honest with you. It's going to be multiverse on steroids, man. So
Steven's like, well, you
now.
Just
there's going to be so many different layers.
Well, Steven, I guess you're out of this.
Shows, then you got to watch the movies.
For you.
Yeah, you're going to
We got two Batmans in Flash. We got two Batmans in Flash, and we got two Flashes in Flash. So
I'm out.
You're
the comment about that he could stop the greater threat was said to put doubt in them. Agreed. All right. Well, we are over our hour time here. We've had a well-heated debate.
And we didn't even talk about the post credits.
Okay, so real quick, we did slightly. So real quick, we'll recap that real fast. So we had a mid-credit scene which set us up for Loki 2. So spoilers here. What?
Mm-mm. It's set up for the wars.
Mid-credit was Scott freaking out over the fact
Council of King.
Was Scott freaking out over what?
Over the fact that they killed the Kang that said he could defeat the bigger threat.
Okay, so then we had 3 credit scenes then. Because we also had the Loki set up for Loki, and then we had the set up for Marvel Phase 4.
It was only 2 credits. One was setting up for the wars, and the other one was setting up for Loki 2. You're thinking about right before it ended, Megan.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Anyway,
was Applebee's or her fake birthday, not birthday or whatever. That little birthday party at the very end, and that's when he was just.
Well, she's talking about where Scott's walking the streets, just like the opening. Yeah, that was just the ender, Megan. That wasn't.
Yeah, that wasn't.
Okay, the point was that it was not Loki. Loki was the last one.
Yes.
All right.
That has been established.
Oh my gosh. I'm losing control here. Steven, you're supposed to help me. You're supposed to be. Yeah, Steven's just sitting back there with his mouth shut. Yeah. Anyway,
he's sitting back there just like how Kang was, just letting it all happen.
Yeah, right. He's just letting it all happen. Anyway, so yeah, we had a scene where we saw all the different Kangs, thousands and thousands of Kangs, which is known as the Council of Kangs. Mm-hmm. And that's setting up the upcoming future Avengers movies, team up movies. And then we got the scene that's setting up Loki 2, where both Loki and Mobius go back in time, and they witness Kang in another form, and he's kind of one of these snake oil salesmen back in the whatever
1800s. Yeah.
Right, like in the 1800s. So
kind of like how Tesla and them were talking about electricity and all that kind of stuff. He's trying to talk about time. And one thing that I really liked, because again, I watched Emergency Awesome. He was fantastic. And I like how he was talking about with the first end credit where we see the Kang Dynasty and all about popping into this arena. If you noticed, I don't know if you noticed this, but when they were all popping in, it was similar to Reed Richards. And yeah, that was really cool how they like are linking all that kind of stuff where they're coming in through that portal thing.
I just want to let you know the one that was more of the eldest one. That's Immortus. So that's the one that is the one above. That's the one above all. That's that's a different character. But then again, he kind of like the one above all. Whatever. He's the final version of Kang itself. And then you had Roma Tut was the one that was like a pharaoh. And then there was another one that was it was another one I can't think of his name. That was the one that was more like cybernetic or whatnot. Those are those are more of the final forms of Kang itself. But you won't know that unless you go into a little bit of backstory of his character. Yeah. To realize like, oh, this guy has been around way longer. And then when you saw the whole council of Kangs, because they realized that the Kang the Conqueror, he was taken out of the equation or out of the timeline. They realized that, okay, there's way too many Kangs. And then Immortus is the one that really, he's the one that, just like how Thanos is, he's the one that basically, defeats Kang. So therefore there's a balance of them. So therefore there's never one that's going to supersede his character. I just want to give you guys a little bit of a comic book reference on that one, because at the very end credit, when you saw those characters, it was just like, they were very shadowy, but then again, it's just like, okay, who are these people now? That was the mid credit, and then the end credit. That's when you saw. So maybe
in the future we should do a Kang episode and kind of discuss the different types of Kangs and the comic book.
I think we should have did that a little bit before.
Yeah, we probably should have, but I didn't think about it.
But it reminded me.
I didn't think they was going to lean hard into it on this movie.
It did remind me, though, because of seeing Loki, the three of them just reminded me of when they got to the tower or whatever, Loki and Sylvie, and you saw the three statues and one was knocked and the fourth one was like knocked down or something. That's what that reminded me of.
Gotcha.
With the three of them. Like that's my brain. As soon as I saw
the one tower, but I didn't realize the other one. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
All right. Well, we really got to wrap this up.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's all right. Steven, you want to jump into our affiliates?
Hey, everybody. We use StreamYard, and we love it. So actually, one of our affiliate sponsors is StreamYard. You'll see that in the description as well. It's pretty cool. You can do all kinds of stuff. They do have a free plan. So if you want to get into the realm of streaming and just hanging out and talking with others, I mean, that's what we do, and we love it. I've met people all over, and it's been fabulous. We got some of those were in our chat today. So check out StreamYard. It's a lot of fun, and it's very easy to use. Use the link that you see in the description. And if you decide that you're going to want to sign up for a paid plan, what's really cool is you do help out the show. And so they just introduced a couple of things. You can do some of their plans. Their paid plans has the ability to do webinars, which is much more cheaper than Zoom.
Cheers.
And cheers. And then also the other thing they just released this last week, which is really cool, is you can take your videos, like we have the videos that we just made here, so it keeps them in play, but you can actually turn those into YouTube shorts within the software, and it's all web-based, which is pretty cool. So please check it out. StreamYard, gotta love it. Okay.
All right. And if you made it this far, please go and like and subscribe to us on both Facebook and on YouTube. Every time you click like on any of our videos, it helps the algorithm. If you subscribe, you'll get notifications of when we're going live. We go live generally on Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can do the math to figure out your location. All right. With that said, Theron, thank you very much for joining us. Angie, thank you for chiming in. Megan, thank you for chiming in. This was actually pretty fun. I liked having a quite diverse, opinionated episode. Again, I'm not trying to say that anyone should think this is a great movie. I'm not trying to say anyone should think this is a bad movie. Go see the movie for yourself and decide for yourself. All right. With that said, over and out. And hey, watch out for the little guy. Thank you for joining us today on the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,